I'm very proud of this essay for my leadership class, and I feel like it's a very important concept for myself and also to express to others. So here it is. Carl Gustav Jung, The Law of Empowerment. My belief system throughout my life has been expanded, shattered to pieces, then rearranged and welded together time and time again throughout my life. No other time than after I came to terms with the fact that there is indeed a creator. This happened at the age of 19, while studying theater at GCSU. I recorded the whole experience that I had with a stranger, then was thrown into full-blown psychosis. That psychotic episode allowed me to really tap into an amplified level of thinking that has never gone away, yet has been reserved just to function in society. I became heavily addicted to very hard drugs in order to escape from these delusions or stimulate these understandings. When I finally realized how perfect and intricate all creation is, it helped me to understand that there is no such thing as coincidence. That leads me to write about the man who began this metaphysical journey for myself at that time. That man is Carl Gustav Jung, the father of synchronicity. Carl Jung fulfills many of the laws of leadership. However, the one law that will forever resonate with me, and the very reason why I chose this brilliant philosopher, psychologist, is because of the law of empowerment. There is such a magical correlation to the inner and outer world that Jung put a term to the concept. That term is synchronicity. It basically means meaningful coincidences, or the acausal connection of two or more psychic and physical phenomena. People thought, and still think, I'm crazy by immersing my time into the art of creation and manifestation. However, I have seen people change their minds and lives by tapping into this birthright we all share. Jung taught that self-individuation is the most important thing to strive for during our short time as spiritual beings on this earth. The reason being is because all the thoughts we have is a catalyst for a chain reaction of events that paves the way for us to fulfill whatever life is inscribed in our destiny. These truths started coming at me in the form of signs and numbers. That is when I discovered this man and everything he had to offer, because I knew that I wasn't delusional, nor was I hallucinating any of the events happening to me. The problem that I kept facing was believing I was schizophrenic and taking medication for it, even knowing I never hallucinated or heard voices, nor was I even delusional. What started happening with me is I got lost in the connections, as if my brain was a programming system that had a virus and the wires got reconnected the wrong way. My best friends in college thought I had gone truly insane, which was such a blessing because it forced me to be in solitude after being kicked out to expand for months and months on this topic and manifestation. Manifestation metaphysics is all we have been called to educate ourselves in. The sages throughout time who channeled the collective unconscious, as Jung described it to be, claim the same thing, albeit transcribed a bit differently. It is our birthright to create, and it is our birthright to dream for any life that brings us closer to self. Therefore, if you can imagine your fantasy world coming true, we all have the ability as co-creators with Most High, God, the collective, whatever you would like to label all that is, to achieve that of which you desire to bring the most fulfillment. One of the processes that I realize now I've been doing naturally, that Jung wrote about for himself, was mandalas. They are pretty much an artistic expression of self, therefore the totality of all. It is quite ironic and fascinating because he goes on to describe that by feeding into and centering the ego, you're able to relate it back to the psychic wholeness of the collective. I have a shrine at my apartment that I pray to, for example. It's not a way of practicing magic or voodoo or any type of sorcery. What it truly is for me is a very beautiful artistic creation of all the gifts I have acquired throughout my journey at Inspire. Moreover, I realize when I create artistic representations of my subconscious, I am truly designing everybody in it. I see myself in every painting, every tree, every animal, and every set of eyes. It is not through an ego death that we harness our power. It is through an ego centering. Even in Jung's case, when he tried to lead using his ego as far as his goals, planning his process, and attempting to maintain it, he realized that he must allow his subconscious to dictate his life. I have been doing that for about a month now, actively, and it has changed the course of my entire existence. If that is not the law of empowerment, I don't know what is. I realized through this process of allowance and letting go that my birthright is coming to light. That birthright is this, in Marco's world. What I am seeking is also seeking me, because I get everything I ask for. When I have no resistance and remain loving and heart-centered in my intent and thought, that's when I have the ability to instantly manifest. It is by letting go and going with the flow. Two simple concepts that Jung has written about. By using the mandalas and studying dreams, he realized that our consciousness, or what I view as spirits, knows deep within where you should be going throughout your life. In my own personal experience these last weeks, the less I try, the more I gain. This is beyond this program, the 12 steps, and work. What I am expressing instead is the less I try to find the truth and plan out the rest of my life, the more I gain everything I've ever wanted. Oftentimes I get so attached to being grounded, fitting into society's little heart-shaped box, and believe that I need to learn more, do more, plan more than what I'm doing. I've learned by now developing my own schedule that I am exactly where I need to be, at the pace I need to be at, doing everything I need to entice my spirit and function in society. That is freedom at its finest. Two more concepts that have worked wonders in my experience as a hardcore drug user before I came in, which are also concepts of Jung, is archetypes and alchemy. Archetypes are pretty much characters from mythology or art whose qualities resonate with you as an individual. And as you become conscious about who they are and who they became, you may be able to utilize all they were in your everyday life. The way I did that was through the Bible and realizing that I was a combination of two characters, Joseph and Mary Magdalene. Joseph was the man who interpreted his dreams and went through years of tests to finally fulfill his destiny, which was to save multitudes of people from famine. Mary Magdalene is the sinful harlot who was hopelessly devoted to Jesus for loving her at her worst. By tapping into these characteristics, I was well on my way to renewal. Alchemy, Jung expresses here, is figurative in nature. Alchemy is the process of turning something into gold. He's talking about using all the inner darkness of the subconscious and turn it into gold. The way I perceive that is the fact that in my journey to self-actualization and self-individuation is the idea that I can turn my curses into blessings. Carl Jung has forever changed my life. He allowed me to gain a foundation for myself in order to regain the power I began to give away through my addiction. If I didn't understand his concepts before I became a very destructive drug addict, I would never understand the mess I had made. However, the beautiful part about that is that I no longer have the luxury of playing the victim. I created every event that transpired, and ironically enough, I created the path I was willing to take to end up here. The same power used to create all of this beautiful, magical universe is within each of us. The squirrel on the tree, the ant on the street, the serial killer serving life, and the single mom trying to make ends meet. That to me is the greatest blessing of all. Moreover, I'm getting everything I ever wanted. I want nothing more than to help the brokenhearted heal. In order to do that, I had to walk through darkness and dance with demons. However, in the midst of it all, I had many more hidden angels to attest to. If it hadn't been for them and all of you in the hardest yet most glorious experience I've ever allowed myself to receive, I would still be a lonely man with a God-sized void in my soul. Now he has filled it up with a multiplicity of people and opportunities that are aligned to my special path this time around. All of this will forever be a mysterious wonderland park. So right now, I'm just going along for the ride.